Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Indy Investor Pod. I got Randy joining me again today. And over the last couple of episodes, we have been talking about just if you come to Indy, what are some things you can do? What are some places to eat? What are some places to grab a drink? Where are places to go on a date night? Grab a donut in the morning, all that type of stuff. Today, we're getting into kind of some experiences and things to do. We did 2 episodes on food and drink, which was really probably easy. Probably could have been about 5 episodes for us, maybe. But we also want to get into what are some things to do. So not just like places to go and eat and enjoy and kind of hang out, but where are some things that you can actually do, or times of the year to come to Indy, or events, that type of thing. So that's what we're going to kind of get into today. I'm excited to do that. And Randy, I do think that Indianapolis is a good place to like just come and visit. So it's not like a mountain or a beach or something like that you might take a whole vacation to or anything like that, but there is some good stuff here in Indy. And I know that I actually even enjoy staycations here to just kind of enjoy what the city has to offer, man. How about you?
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be like your top five best places to visit in your life, but it's a good place, like you said, just to come for a quick weekend. And we'll cover like different areas or different parts of the year we can come in because of certain things going on. That might be an ideal time to come visit to get to everything out of your experience. But no, it's a great place, and Indy's it's a small big town, so you can come and kind of hit all these spots in one long weekend.
Yeah. Definitely. So, and there's always something going on. There's some different things that hit up and stuff like that. And I know some of the things that we even have, they're year round things that you can always go do and stuff. So, cool. But let's start off a little bit so I know when I travel, and that's how I'm kind of looking at this is if I'm traveling, what are some of the things that I like to do or anything? So if you're coming here, you're checking on your investments, you're networking, you're meeting people, but then you have some time to spend. You're like, oh, I want to check out a cool area, that type of stuff. So where I always start is like, what's a good downtown? When I look at like, hey, what's a good downtown area or place that I can like basically just park my car and I can walk around, grab a cup of coffee, meet with some people, check out. So, maybe there's a little cool little shop that I can go into and pick up something for the wife, those types of things. What are those cool downtowns? So Randy, my list of top five is, and I will say this when I'm talking, like there is like Monument Circle. That is one to definitely kind of like check out and see and things like that.
Walk
But like
around, sure.
it's
Yeah.
it's like one of those like I'm just gonna pop in and like see it. I'm not gonna like
Yeah.
kind of spend time around there, honestly, things like that. But there's some other things we'll kind of talk about. I have that kind of in a different area to kind of talk about too. But I want to talk about like just downtowns, neighborhoods that I want to go just walk around, chill, and spend some time in. My top five were Mass Ave. I think Mass Ave is an
Hmm.
easy one. You can do so many things around there, and it's a really cool area just to check out. My next one is Fountain Square. So to
Yep.
actually go into Fountain Square and just spend some time there, and hang out and just really kind of get the vibe of, I think, of the city of what's going on. And I think it's cool because you get the vibe of the transition, I think, that Indianapolis has come
Yeah.
from kind of what it was maybe to what it is now and stuff. So that's why I really think Fountain Square is kind of like that. The next ones they're in Hamilton County, so I apologize for kind of excluding kind of Marion County on some of these. Some of the small little downtowns and things are cool, and Irvington's got a cool little downtown, and the Speedway's nice and things like that. But I like places that the walkability is huge for me to be able to walk in and go to multiple places and things. That's why I kind of categorize this. But like, honestly, if you go like Zionsville is one of my favorite downtowns. If you like, it feels like it could be like in a Hallmark movie, like no problem at all. Like a lot of little shops, a lot of places to eat, cool places to hang out. And you can spend a day in Zionsville downtown. Same thing.
For sure.
And then like Noblesville. I'm like, I've been here for 7 years now in Indianapolis, and I'm kind of just now falling in love with Noblesville downtown. They're doing a little bit more stuff there. There's some new stuff coming in, but it still has that kind of old town feel and things. So it feels like a small town downtown. That is pretty cool. So I really like Noblesville downtown. And then what they're doing here in Carmel and Midtown Carmel is awesome.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
it's really cool. All the stuff they're putting up, all the things they're doing. My new favorite thing is whenever I have a coffee meeting or anything, I'm meeting at like a coffee shop in the downtown, and we're just walking the Mona, like in downtown
Yeah.
Carmel and things. You can do the same thing, stop off for a beer in different places, Union Brewing, and just, or stop off at Bass Bros and get some eat. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. So Midtown Carmel's, I can put it in there. So Randy, what are some other like cool little downtowns or something? When people come to town, like, hey, hang out in this area and check it out.
Yeah. So kind of, I think you hit the hot spots in Fountain Square and Mass Ave downtown. Like even if you're just walking up Virginia Avenue towards downtown, you kind of it's really Fletcher Place, that area there. People
Yeah.
still consider that sometimes as Fountain Square, but
Everything's Fountain Square around there, right?
Right. But Fletcher Place, it was once you get inside of 65, other great places to hang out. And then Virginia Ave is cool because when you're just walking up towards downtown, you can see, obviously you see the skyline, you can see Bankers Life Fieldhouse. So
yeah,
it's kind of just a cool place to hang out, kind of see the landscape of everything. Broad Ripple, walking up and down College Ave, from Broad Ripple Ave down. That's cool. You can park your car there. And you could walk many streets there and find something to do and places to stop. And then
I recommend spending the morning maybe in Sobro and then like driving your car up to Broad Ripple for the afternoon and stuff and hanging out there through the night.
Yeah. Sobro for the coffee and breakfast, and then Broad Ripple for all the other fun stuff. But and then you mentioned those places in Hamilton County, and in my favorite spot, like you already mentioned, is becoming the Midtown area of Carmel. And the good thing about that is that you mentioned Noblesville doing stuff and Fisher's doing stuff. They're all trying to catch up with what Carmel has going on. So it's just causing this like competitiveness between like the Hamilton County, like who's the best, where's the best place to live in America? That's what they're all fighting for. Right. So it's caused Noblesville to really bring in some cool stuff and, level up in the past couple of years. And then Fisher's has really always been a big city. And it's kind of that downtown area of Fisher's now is very, the walkability is great with everything they're putting on in there. And really, man, I'm just waiting for Westfield to catch up because they've got a lot of people moving there, but I think they're falling behind on the downtown part. So.
Yeah. So, then kind of moving in there, and then like, there's like two, specialty areas that basically like when there's events going on, like nothing can compete with them. That's like kind of the speedway. So like during the race week, and during the race month, really around there, if there's something going on at the racetrack, like it's the speedway, like that area is awesome. It's electric and it's a lot of fun. And then another one too, if there's something going on at Lucas Oil, Georgia Street is like awesome. So it's kind of like, hey, if you're sitting here on a random weekend, you can hit up these spots that Randy and I are talking about. But if you're here for like a Colts game, or if you're here for like for something at the track, like Speedway or like Georgia Street around there, like you're gonna have some good times. So
even like if because we get like the Big Ten championship. I don't know if maybe I'm going to a different topic right now, but like when the Big Ten championship is in town for football, and it's usually Ohio State. The convention center has amazing stuff. Like, so we'll have like the Big Ten Fest where you can go in all weekend, and it's kind of just it's a cool festival for kids, adults, even like I participate in all those games. And, just kind of get like an experience of, being in college, and it's cool.
Yeah. Which is awesome. Cause that's the thing that Indy really brings, is that there's a lot of events that come here. So there's always gonna be some kind of a tournament here when it comes to March, whether it's the women's NCAA tournament, the men's NCAA tournament, the Big Ten tournament, the women's Big Ten. I mean, there's always something going on around that time and stuff like that. So it's definitely really cool. But I know one of the best kind of experiences in general is, and I have not yet experienced it yet. So Randy, I'm going to kind of lean this over to you. But just, race week and what the month of May really
it's
just means to the city of it. Yeah, it's month. So yeah, that's how I'm not a true Hoosier quite yet. And I think that's like my stepping stone of like, I'll consider myself a Hoosier instead of a Buckeye when I when I finally go to a race and stuff like that. But Randy, just when it comes to the Indy 500 and that race month, the month of May, what does that really mean to Indianapolis and being here for that time?
Yeah, I think anyone that has been born and raised in Indy, I think they truly, truly love the month of May, because that's the reason why Indianapolis is even on the map in the first place. It's one of the biggest events in the world, as far as like popularity and viewership on just one single event. But yeah, they had the last weekend of May. What is it, Memorial Day weekend? The race is always happening. It's in Speedway, and it's really like it kicks off a bunch of events. Typically, like in a normal year, it kicks off a bunch of events from the first weekend of May, which is the mini marathon, the Indy Mini, which is the largest half marathon in the country. And that kind of kicks off to every weekend leading up to the race. There's something big going on. So the towns, just downtown, but even like the surrounding parts, even up into the suburbs, people are coming in from different countries, man, just to come to Indianapolis and experience everything. And then leading up to the race, like the race weekend, party starts Friday, man. Carb day, everyone goes to the race, watches the couple laps, tracks, on practice. I'm sorry. And then they go into the garage. You can get access to the garage, so you can go in, look at all the cars up close. You might run into a driver here and there. There's concerts going on at the track, Saturday practice day, and then race day. People, I mean, if you get to the race, I think the race starts at like 2 p.m. But if you get to the track at like noon, you're late, man. You got to get there at like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, because first of all, traffic's going to be bad, but the whole experience is like the leading up to the race to start. Everyone's kind of just having a good time, tailgating. They do a snake pit in the infield. So there's a big concert going on during the race. It's an experience it's very simple, but it's hard to explain how it truly feels unless you go there. And you could be in the infield, you could be in the stands, but it's going to be a good time if you ever experience it. And Brian, you're going to go sometime soon.
I know. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. This is how people knew I was not a true Hoosier when I first moved out here and stuff. And because I've learned now, but like my first couple of years, they'd be like, say something about the race. I'd be like, what race? And that's how bad it was. But anyway, we'll deviate from that. So get into one of the things I do love is just like other sports and stuff like that. So Indy's a great place for other sports. And so really you can't go wrong when it comes to just Indianapolis in general and their pro sports teams and what they do. So whether it's a Colts game, whether it's a Pacers game, a Fever game, Indy 11, or the Indy Fuel, the hockey team, or the Indianapolis Indians and stuff like that, like they're all good experiences. And I honestly think, Randy, I want to get your opinion too, but out of like kind of those pro sports teams that are here, I think my favorite kind of experience is the Indianapolis Indians game. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, the Colts games are awesome. The Pacers games are awesome. Fever, like all that stuff is great, but I really enjoy just being outside of the baseball games, stuff like that. I really missed it last year. So looking forward to it this year and stuff like that. But Indianapolis Indians, they got a great ballpark. I think it's a really fun thing to do. But Randy, what's your kind of favorite like pro sporting event here in Indianapolis?
No, I think I'm on board with going to Indians games just because I think everybody enjoys going to an Indians game. You don't even have to like sports. Like my wife, she's been to Indians game with me. She doesn't care, right? But it's cool because she can sit outside, right, in the sun. So like you could take your dog there. You could take your kids there. Yeah. They've got their outfield is really just you could take a chair or a blanket and sit in the outfield on the hill. So it's just really friendly to go there and kind of walk around, and you're right in the outside of downtown, so you can see the buildings. So it's really cool, and you're not kind of just like confined to your one seat.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think that's why it scores high on my list. But I think I love going to Lucas Oil, going to football games there. That's just an amazing stadium. And especially if you can go early on in the year, they'll open the roof up, and it's really cool. But that is state of the art. That's a state of the art building, one of the best football stadiums in the NFL. So catching a game is really fun. So yeah, those two are close tie for first.
Yeah. So I'll also kind of throw this in here too. If you're in town and like there's one of those things going on, I'll tell you what, it's really cool to take tours of those places. So to go take a tour of like Lucas Oil is really, really neat. Or to take a tour of the speedway, of the track and stuff. To do those things like in the off season, things like that, it's pretty cool too. So it's something I would definitely recommend, kind of like on some of the off seasons and things. So get into just what are some other things that are so Indy, we've kind of talked about, like it's known for the race, it's known for some sporting events and things coming here, but what are some other cool things to do just in Indianapolis if you're here for just kind of just a weekend or whatever it is? Some of my favorite things, and remember too, we're kind of relating this. There's a ton of things to do in Indianapolis. We're relating it to is like, hey, if we were traveling here, here's what we would recommend to you investors that are coming here looking for something to do, looking to experience the city a little bit. Some of my favorite things to look at is doing duck pin bowling down in Fountain Square. It's just it's kind of a cool little thing. You feel like you're kind of back in time a little bit, doing some duck pin bowling. So that's a lot of fun. We did just talk about sports. I'm going to throw this one in here as well. Going to a Butler basketball game is an experience. Like it's awesome to go into Hinkle to experience that. There's not a bad seat. You can get like the last seat on the last row and have an amazing time. Really good time. So definitely, if you're here during the winter when Butler's playing, like hit that up because it is historic and a lot of fun. Also, two of my favorite places like go to concerts here. If you're here, if there's concerts going on in the summertime, I love going to White River State Park for a concert. It's a smaller outdoor venue, really cool, just out, off of the canal and stuff. And then also an indoor venue for concerts. I love going to concerts at the Murat. So down off of Mass Ave, that area, you can always go out and get something to eat, drink beforehand, and then go to a concert there is really cool. So, Randy, I know you're a big fan of Ruoff, going to concerts up there and stuff like that. But anything else that like just is an experience that if you're here in Indy and something's going on to check out?
Yeah. So sticking on concerts, yeah, Ruoff up in Noblesville. It's our favorite place to go. Me and my wife, and then like my friends, we're always going out there. But they get some of the the top headliner. It's a big amphitheater out there, so it's half covered, half lawn, and it gets popping out there. It's pretty fun. So definitely check that out if it's the summertime. Then other things, I think we probably talked about this on a previous podcast, but checking out the Children's Museum. Even if you don't have kids, honestly, like you could just kind of go there and check it out. It's kind of cool because they've done so much, and
Yep.
there's going to be areas where it's meant for kids, but
Yep.
some adults can have a good time as well. And then the other things you listed there, we're solid. But yeah, there's really just kind of depending what you're into. You could find something in Indianapolis that's going to kind of fit your style. So
yeah. So I'll throw another one in there too, like the Tibbs Drive-In movie theater. Definitely a little old-fashioned feel over on the west side. Really cool place to kind of go and just watch a movie and stuff like that. And especially when theaters are kind of in a weird spot right now and have kind of changed a little bit and stuff. But the Tibbs Drive-In is a cool place over on the west side to check out. So as far as, and then to get into kind of like just some like, I don't know what categories really comes into. I kind of mark this like landmarks or historical things or just like cool things to check out. Monument Circle is definitely at the top of the list there. If you're in Indy, definitely have to check out Monument Circle, go down there, get a feel for the city. You can actually like take a tour like up to the top of it and things and check out, but definitely look at that. It's really cool.
Which,
One of my
Brian, a lot of people don't know you can go up there.
Yeah.
I bring that up a lot, and they're like, "You can go up to the top." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
you should do it."
Yeah,
So.
and it is a cool view of the city and stuff. So definitely recommend that. One of my favorite places to go is the IMA in Newfields. Checking that place out is really cool. You spend a lot of time there. Really neat. Also, just kind of the historical thing is like the Symphony, I think is a really neat place to check out. Whether you just go take a tour of the Indianapolis Symphony or check out a show, something like that, I think is a cool place to check out. Also the canal, just hanging out, spending some time on the canal. If you're here on a sunny day, like go walking around the canal is a great time. There's some things to do around there as well. The Garfield Park Conservatory is definitely really cool. Checking all the flora that they have there is really, really neat. Some of the different plants and things there and just what's going on is neat. And then I just kind of put in here too, the Monon Trail. Just getting on the Monon Trail, no matter where it is, whether you're, coming from the downtown or through Broad Ripple or up through Hamilton County or wherever you are, like the Monon Trail is just a cool spot to, whether you need to go for a run or a bike ride or just need to just hang out and take a walk or anything like that. So the Monon Trail is definitely on there in my case. So Randy, any other kind of landmark things or just kind of things that you think people should check out or visit when they're in town?
Yeah, I had the Monon Trail on my list. So the thing that's cool about that is, I mean, if anyone's been here and been on it, you kind of understand. But they have places on the trail, like they put them there for a purpose so that people on the trail can stop and hang out. So it's not just a trail, and then there's trees and stuff around you. There are parts like that. There are parts where there's nothing around you, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But then as you're going through kind of like those hot spots of Indianapolis and even up north, there's dedicated spots where they put this here for a reason, for people can stop, park their bike and either grab a bite to eat or something. So that's definitely cool. And then I had my random point was the largest rocking chair, the largest wooden rocking chair. So this is going under landmarks, right? So I looked this up. Between Franklin and Edinburgh, there's apparently, it's the largest wooden rocking chair in Indiana. But you could, so you don't have to you could just drive down the road. You should be able to see it from the street. But down 31. So they're trying to be the biggest one in America, but it's definitely the biggest one in Indiana. So it's huge. And it's funny because they put a normal size rocking chair next to that big one. And it's like the normal size rocking chair only goes up to the leg where it actually kind of rocks. So it's what is it, 3-4 feet tall? And then the rocking chair is 35 feet long.
I love little road trip stuff like that. Yeah, biggest rocking chair or biggest rubber band ball, things like that. It's fun stuff to do on it's Midwest, road trip stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
So I want to get into a little bit. I think it's definitely worth mentioning is just things to do with kiddos when you're here in Indianapolis and stuff. And you mentioned the Children's Museum, like definitely high on the list.
I jumped the gun,
No,
Brian.
you're good, man. Because you can do it without kiddos, but with kiddos, it's probably even a little bit better and stuff. But that's definitely it's rated one of the top children's museums in the U.S. and stuff. So definitely checking that out. I think it's pretty good. Also, our zoo it is it is a little bit small, but it's some of the stuff they have there is really neat. There's some good exhibits. They got the orangutans a couple years ago. They got alligators coming now. There were a bunch of different like experiences you can do. My wife and I took our nephew and did we petted dolphins. A couple months ago and stuff like that. So it was really neat. You can do some different experiences, but the zoo is definitely a good time. It's not like a full day zoo kind of thing, but it's definitely, spend a couple hours there and enjoy yourselves. Also, as far as like kind of water parks, things to do in the summertime with kiddos. My wife and I, we don't have any kiddos ourselves, but we like to do things with our nieces and nephews and things. So we've taken them around to a couple different water parks around Indianapolis. Their favorite one is in Plainfield. It's called Splash Island, but they say that's the best one. That's the one they like. The slides the best. There's a lot of stuff for them to do. The Monon Center is pretty cool as well. There's some stuff around the downtown area, but their favorite one is Plainfield Splash Island. So I want to throw that in there. And then also just Connor Prairie is definitely something to enjoy. This is kind of the same thing as the Children's Museum. You can go do it as adults and stuff and check it out. But I think the Connor Prairie, it's like a historical, like set back in the pioneer times to go see what it was like to live there. They have different exhibits, different things going on and stuff like that. But definitely a cool educational thing to take the kiddos to. So definitely want to throw that in there. So Randy, you're one with the kiddos, man. And anything else that that I want to or that you want to throw in there and talk about what can you do in Indianapolis with the kiddos? Other than I will say too, just there's parks all over the place.
Yeah, I was going to say
really good parks, really good jungle gyms, things like that. You can definitely find those all over the city.
Yeah, I definitely had the Monon Center, especially now this time of year. It's warming up here, so it's always on our list. So it's a big water park for adults and kids. They'll have it's sectioned off for each age, so your 2-year-old's not splashing around with a 10-year-old. Yeah. So no, it's a great area. Great to take your kids, and there's parks around that. Then it's like on that topic. So I know at least through a lot of the Hamilton counties, even like Whitestown, Zionsville, like they all have some sort of splash pad. So sometimes those water parks and things can get very busy where it's like, hey, if I have really young kids, like 2, 3, I don't want them going on getting all hurt and drowning and stuff or all that fun stuff. So they can go to a splash pad, and those things they're pretty cool. And they always have a good time. And then you mentioned the zoo being small. So having, I think my daughter went there the first time I was 3. That was like the size of the zoo was perfect because we went to everything that day. Yeah. And then, because that's the cool thing, you can go to everything in one day. But after the last thing, she was done. So if the zoo was like 2 stops bigger, we would have gotten to the fussy phase, right?
Yeah, like, good call. No.
So I think it's actually a perfect size if you're going to go as a family.
Yeah. So those are the things I don't pay attention to, and I don't know. So, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So awesome.
So I had the zoo, splash pad, and then I also had Connor Prairie as well. And Connor Prairie also do concerts as well. Actually family friendly concerts. So it's nothing. You can be out there all day with the kiddos if you want. And then they usually have a good concert. Maybe sometimes I think there's one that. I don't know what it's called, but there was like classical or symphony music.
Yeah, they do with the Indianapolis Symphony. They'll be out there and stuff, and then usually do it a couple times in the summer. Yeah, that's really neat.
And then you definitely hot air balloon there.
Yeah, there you go. So great date spot there. So
there you go.
Awesome. So and then we kind of talked earlier about like some different tours to do. I think 100% like take a tour like the Speedway, take a tour of the Lucas Oil. I think those are really neat and stuff. But there's also little things like the brewery bus tour. I know we did our little brewery thing, but there's a couple different brewery bus tours to definitely check out. Good way to kind of see the city and kind of get a feel for the city as well. The handlebar, like the little, the peddler things that basically get out in the downtown and just grab a drink and kind of pedal around with your group of friends around town. There's a couple different companies that do that. I think are really cool. And then one of the things I want to definitely mention is the cultural trail. That really kind of just is a walking trail that goes through the city, and you can check out all different kind of parts of the city, but it's easily walkable, or, ride your bike or jump on a scooter or something like that. But it's a good way to kind of see different parts of the downtown, different parts of the city. So definitely want to mention that. So Randy, any other like trails or tours or anything that you've done that you think are pretty cool?
I mean, I wanted you to talk about this donut trail.
There is a donut trail. I think they're like all over the place that like you can like literally look up of like,
I
hey,
was waiting for I was waiting for that. I was on the edge of
Saturday.
my seat.
Yeah, so there is like a donut trail, like it covers like it covers all of Indiana too and stuff like that. So honestly, as I was researching this like through the week and things I put on here, on the official, and I don't know if it's official, I say that, but on the donut trail they don't have longs on there. So I'm like, I kind of discredited it a little bit, but they do have do have a lot of like cool little like donut trail, and there's different things too. There's like now like Carmel has like their own like coffee trail and stuff like that. You can kind of check off some things, and but I think it's pretty cool. So, but there were some places on the donut spot that I've never heard of. So now I'm kind of intrigued by it a little bit. But they didn't have longs on there, so I was like,
yeah,
it's kind of like as an investor, like when I see one part of data that's not, that it's incorrect, like all the data is wrong for me is how how I kind of viewed the donut trail. But
yeah, I was really hoping for that one. But yeah, so kind of on that, I guess, trail topic. If you're kind of outdoorsy going and hiking through Eagle Creek is cool.
Yeah.
So you could do that. And then if you're anyone that likes to mountain bike, I can't remember what the place is called, but the place you get on the trails is off of 96 in like Allisonville. So it's along the White River, but really long mountain bike trails. It's very, I know I'm not into mountain biking, but I know it's a hot spot for people who are.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening who wants to write down 96th Street in Allisonville on the White River, get on there and you can get some good mountain bike trails.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's kind of the next category I had is like the parks of just like places to go. Eagle Creek Park is, a great place to go, whether you want to hike, whether you want to do a family picnic, or just like you can just drive around and see some nature and stuff like that is really cool. Fort Harrison is just kind of it's a cool area in general. And honestly, I can't believe that we haven't really had too much stuff from the, Fort Harrison or, Fort Bend area to like kind of on our list and stuff here, but there's a lot of really neat things to do around there.
Mm-hmm.
So good place to hike, take a little run, and stuff like that. Really neat. Also one of the newest ones that it's not new to Indy, but one of the places that I've kind of just found out about, like, I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is a lot of fun, is the Virginia Bee Fairbanks Art and Nature Park. It's kind of just north of the Riverside area, kind of around like where Newfields is and stuff like that. But it's like 100-acre park down there, and there's all different kinds of stuff. There's some water out there that you can kind of chill on. There's some, it's great. There's a lot of trails. So you can do like some biking, some hiking, or some jogging, things like that. So really neat area that I just kind of came across not too long ago, which I thought was really neat. So definitely a cool place. Cool Creek is kind of a cool little nature spot up here. They have a nature center and some cool trails up here in Carmel. And then I think when it comes to parks too, just mentioning is Grand Park in Westfield. So if you have a kid that does travel baseball or basketball or any of that stuff, you may have gone to Grand Park. But even if you are not, like if you come here with kids, I think it's a cool spot to like, you could go there and there's probably a game going on that they might want to watch or just to check out, or they kind of just drive around and stuff like that. So I don't want to mention that because that does bring a lot of stuff to Indianapolis, to Westfield, to that area and stuff like that. I know that one of the hot topics I saw the other day was just like Airbnbs around Grand Park. I think, yes, it's a pretty good moneymaker. There's always stuff going on around there and things. So, Randy, any other like parks or any other like nature centers or anything like that you want to mention?
Yeah, I mean, for our kayaking and canoeing crowd out there, up in my area, in Cicero off of White River Campground, they'll do you can do like either a canoe or kayak down the White River. Starts in Cicero, goes down to Noblesville. You can do a short or long. Usually takes all day if you do the long. But there's little places you can kind of peel off and swim if you want, or just kind of hang out. So that's cool to do. And then I don't know if we already talked about this on a previous episode, but just like the surrounding areas, like the surrounding parks, like going down to Turkey Run, that's always fun. That's a beautiful park, and you see some great landscape there. But then I mentioned Eagle Creek just on the previous topic there. But I think all the other ones you mentioned are good to put on that list. But you can drive around and find either a small park or a big park, but there's parks everywhere here.
Let's talk about it. You mentioned Turkey Run, and that's definitely one of my favorite places here in Indiana. We'll kind of jump into that a little bit. Maybe some places that are outside of Indy. So if you are, looking for something like within a, 1 hour or two or an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour drive away from Indianapolis, we're up here for like a week or, a long weekend or something like that. There are some things to do outside of it, especially when it comes to like kind of nature. So Turkey Run out kind of on the towards Illinois.
Mhm.
on the west side of the state. Is really cool. Just like there's trails, there's places to, canoe and kayak out there, or we like to call cabrewing, when you go out canoeing with a beer in your hand and stuff. So always a good time. Also out there close to it is Shade State Park. And that's actually my favorite place to hike in Indiana. They have like some dried up riverbeds that you can basically just hike up these dried up riverbeds. So you kind of feel a little bit adventurous because you're like jumping from rock to rock and you're doing it for an extended period of time and stuff like that. So really cool area down there. And then also the Indiana Dunes. So up on Lake Michigan is just a cool spot too. It's a
Lake
bit of a
Michigan's
drive from
beautiful, man.
Indianapolis. Yeah. So going up on there is really neat. And then I think one of the big ones and one of the main ones that's kind of well known a little bit is Brown County. So go down to Brown County, southern Indiana. A really cool little town down there called Nashville, Indiana. It's kind of just a cool little spot. There's a downtown with a couple side streets, some good places to eat, drink. But then there's also some good trails and stuff to drive through, to hike around. I will say in Indiana, so I think it's a little different than a lot of states. So if you go into a state park in Indiana, there is it's like $7 or something that you pay for a car to go into a state park. I know some other state parks are, open and you just go into it. But in Indiana, just to throw that out there, that you do have to pay to get into state parks in Indiana. So just to give everybody a heads up there. But 100% recommend going down to Brown County, checking out Brown County State Park, and then hanging out in Nashville for a day is always a lot of fun. Two other places that are outside of Indianapolis that are really cool to go to. One of my favorite spots, and I've been there a couple times, is the Big Cat Sanctuary. So this is out on the like close to the Illinois border, but they literally have like lions and tigers and bobcats and jaguars. But basically it's a rescue for these these massive felines, where they rehabilitate them, bring them back, and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool where you can literally like stand right beside like a tiger and like all its face, there's basically just a fence in between you where you hear the lions roar and stuff like that. So the zoo is pretty cool, but you want to see like some big cats on like kind of a bigger scale or closer scale and kind of get more of a feel to it. I definitely recommend that. Maybe not the best.
That wasn't, so let's be clear, that wasn't the guy on Tiger King, right?
It was not, no. But I will say they ended up getting some rescues from there.
I figured they did.
I've learned that like that kind of community all knows of each other and knows who does stuff right and knows like so and things like that. Yeah. So actually when I went there one time, it was like right after the whole Lion King thing. So I got a couple stories and stuff from that. But
I bet.
No, but it's a really cool thing, and it's a good cause too of what they're doing out there, doing rehabilitating these. And then I want to mention too, just a little bit on here, is like my favorite small town, like outside of Indianapolis. So my favorite small town in Indiana is Madison, Indiana. It's down on the Ohio River. Just a cool town. They're kind of like once a month they have an event going on. Like went down for the Soup, Stew, Chili, and Brew Festival. It was a really good time. But each month they have like kind of a different little festival, different little theme where they shut down Main Street and kind of do some different stuff and things like that. COVID last year they had to change some things, but it's kind of coming back this year and some cool stuff. So if you're here for a week and stuff like that and are looking for something to do outside of Indiana or outside of Indianapolis, Madison is definitely one of my favorite cities. So or small towns. So Randy, anything you want to add to that list of just some things to do outside of Indy?
Yeah, man. So obviously being in Indianapolis, we can't enjoy beaches like our coastal friends or even up in Lake Michigan. So one thing, I don't know if this is known or not, but my wife and I kind of found this out by herself a couple of years ago, but down towards Bloomington, a lot of people go to Lake Monroe, but there's actually Lake Lemon.
Yeah.
And it's small, but they actually have a really cool like community beach there. And then when we were down there, we found out a lot of people like will just travel there for the day, because it's not that far of a drive from Indianapolis, and just hang on the beach all day. So that's really cool. And then if anyone wants to like have like a long weekend or just like a mom and dad trip, go down to French Lick. So you have the resort down there. So you have a casino, great 5-star hotel, great golf course. So you can have a weekend there and you can have a lot of fun. That's in French Lick, Indiana. And it's probably the only thing to do there too.
So other than be like, man, I'm here where Larry Bird,
Larry Bird's hometown. Yeah.
So very cool. So a couple other things we want to mention here before we get off of here is if you are in town for like the like Christmas or the holidays, that type of stuff. If you are here during that time, there are some pretty cool things that are going on for the holidays. The symphony does like it's called the old ye or old, I forget what it is called, the ye old celebration, something like that. I think I butchered that, but definitely a cool thing where it's singing and dancing. It's a big extravaganza, so definitely really, really cool. Newfields has an amazing Christmas display for lights, and it's set to music and things like that, which is really, really neat. The fairgrounds has like the drive where you drive your car through and get to check out all the different lights, set the music and things. Definitely, they're really, really cool. The zoo does zoo lights, really neat. And then I will say is like, as far as my wife loves Christmas lights. Like that's her favorite thing to do. So we hit up all these last year and things. But we also spent some time like just driving around and trying to figure out like the best neighborhood for Christmas lights. So like what's the neighborhood that like basically the neighbors go all out and stuff like that. So we have decided that West Clay and Carmel is the best place you want to drive through a neighborhood and just see like ridiculous Christmas lights displays. So you don't pay some money to go in some of these.
I've never seen them, Brian.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So definitely, I think there's some things to check out. So Randy, any other things or when it comes to like holidays, or is there anything else that stands out to you when it comes to Indianapolis, even like for Halloween or any other holidays or anything like that that you want to put on everybody's radar?
You mentioned the zoo for lights too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the zoo for lights. One thing I don't know. I'm just going to bring this up because I think we forgot to talk about it. It should have been brought up, so we'll call it a holiday, right? So the state fair.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we forgot to bring up. So the state fair is in August every year, and if you just want to get your taste of some good old country Hoosiers, like you go to the state fair, you're going to see it's huge. So obviously it's at the fairgrounds, but they'll have, I think it's like for 3 weeks. So they'll just have like, demolition derbies and, tractor pulls, but then you can see all the animals. It smells like animals everywhere you go there. And then you've got the rides where you can kind of like talk to the carnies and stuff. And then the food is always like what the news even talks about. It's like, hey, what's like the most craziest thing someone can come up with? And it always involves something deep fried, and involves a donut. And for some reason there's a burger involved. So it's like you get everything that is kind of put into one thing. It works. I don't know how, but it only works at the fair. Don't try that anytime else.
There you go. I love it. So, all right, we got one more thing, then we'll get out of here for today. And Randy, I'm going to turn this one over to you because I think if you are traveling here, some of the things you might want to know is like, what golf courses can I hit up? If you're a fan of golf and you want to come here, or you want to have a business meeting on the golf course, things like that. I'm more of like the Top Golf guy. You can find me over there, and I do okay. And I'm trying to get on the golf course a little bit more. But Randy, what are your kind of like top golf courses? Somebody's coming here, they're visiting, and then we want to spend some time on the links, man. Where would you recommend?
Yeah, so I made a quick list in no particular order, and this is based off of just having, for one, a nice course to play at that's not going to be like, a crazy amount of money, right?
This is based off of how well Randy did playing these courses.
No. So first, obviously, I think if anyone wants to come golf in Indy, let's hit up the Brickyard. So the Brickyard is called the Brickyard because it's at the Speedway, but it's a golf course around the Motor Speedway, and there's 3 holes inside the track, and it's really cool to play those holes because the only other time I've been to the track is when the stands are full and there's people there. So you're literally inside the racetrack, the stands are empty, so you're like surrounded by this huge like just grandstand. So it's really cool experience. It's a tough course. It's professional grade, but you have to check it out. The Fort at Fort Harrison out in Lawrence, so that's a beautiful course as well. And it's one of the more challenging ones, but just for the scenery and what you get, it's on my list to go check out. Eagle Creek Golf Club, that is out in the Eagle Creek area. I've done lots of golf outings there just because it's kind of like a more of a wide open setting, but this is all about the scenery and experience. I put this on here for you, Brian. I put Sarah Shank Golf Course, and I put this there because especially any investors listening, like everyone always talks about like Bean Creek. Like, hey, let's go golf in Bean Creek. Like,
Yeah.
what? There's a golf course there? Absolutely. So Sarah Shank
You're literally
is,
golfing like as traffic is driving by you and everything.
you're in an intersection.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a hole where you're in an intersection. There's a stoplight. There's a gas station across the street. There's literally cars going by. So if you shank it, to the left, you're going to be into traffic. So,
but a good course for a beginner, because I actually did okay there, and I didn't feel like I was going to like lose like 100 balls or anything like that. So
yeah, and you don't have to travel far. Especially if you're staying downtown, it's right there. So Sarah Shank Golf Course, and then I had to put Bear Slide Golf Course on the list. That is in Cicero, but that is, man, I don't want to say this, but I was going to say that's in the fall. I golfed there once in the fall. That's one of the most beautiful golf courses I've been on because of the rolling hills, and then the colors were cool because there was a lot of trees out there. So it was fall season. And then it's challenging, man. And I like a good challenging course. I don't like to go out and just like think, oh, yeah, that was a good score, but I like to play well on a challenging course. So those are my 5. There's a lot more to check out, but those are my 5 I think anyone should check out while they're here. And I'm putting an open invitation out. If anyone visits Indy and they say, hey, Randy, let's have a meeting. Let's go golf. I'm down. On me. I'll pay for it. Let's go.
You want to get some time with Randy to talk about some deals, take him to the golf course. That's the way to do it. So
yeah.
No, great stuff. So hopefully this helped you out. Hopefully you can help you understand a little bit of just Indianapolis in general. If you're coming here, you want something to do while you're here. Hopefully this list, there's a couple things on here for you, you and your wife, you and your spouse, you and your kiddos, whatever it may be. So hopefully this helps you out. I'm going to put a little plug in here. I wish I could talk about this, but I have not figured out kind of the best places for this yet here in Indianapolis. And I would love to figure out this. So if anybody knows this, definitely kind of throw it on here, throw it in the comments, let other people know and stuff like that. But I have not found great places for like live music, just like, hey, going out and like hanging out, like grabbing a drink and listening to some live music. The Slippery Noodle's cool. Grand Junction up in Westfield is kind of a cool spot for some live music and things like that. But I haven't found like that. Like anytime I go there, there's going to be someone in there just playing an acoustic guitar covers or anything. That's what I want to find. So if anybody knows a place, let me know, because that's what I need to find here in Indianapolis. So on that note, thanks a lot for listening. Hopefully this helps you out. And with that, it's a wrap for this episode of the Indy Investor Pod, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.